What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Podcast Sunday, where me and guests speak on different topics concerning life, self-improvement, motivation, business, and even different news stories as well. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Let's get into it. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the best podcast on YouTube. We are back out here with another episode of Podcast Sunday. Welcome back. And today we got a special topic that we're going to be speaking on. What's good, Terrence? What's good, Juan? Welcome.
It's good.
Welcome.
Yeah,
This man said hi, whatever.
hi.
Welcome back. We're about to get into some new changes that we're going to be having on the channel. I know you can see by the title. So, as usual, we're going to always start off with our weekly reviews, and then we will get into the topic. So hopefully you stay tuned, and hopefully you enjoy. So I'll start off the weekly reviews. Mine for this week. This week I've been doing a little more work on the Kingzeph LLC that I started up. And I've been really looking into different manufacturers and trying to find the correct and right one, price-wise, quality-wise, ship time-wise, all that. So, that's been my main focus. I have a few great candidates that I'm looking into. Still haven't gotten any samples in yet, but soon come. And I already have multiple different designs that I'm already made and already am looking into. So that's been my week, streaming too. That's videos, all that. That's pretty much been my entire week up until this point. For Quan, what you got going on?
Okay. So recently, I've gotten back on track. If those of you who don't know, because I haven't said it, I'm a notary republic. So that means with documents, I'm able to notary republic. Yeah.
He said Republican,
not Republican. Come on now. So that means I'm able to sign documents such as anything in regards to like real estate when you're closing on the house. I'm also able to sign off on the official documents like wills, trust, etc., medical forms and all that stuff. So I'm getting back into doing training for that because I do want to start my LLC for that as soon as possible because I want to diversify my stream of income. Like last week when I was talking about how I was starting a course on how to trade with the stock market, and that's going to take a while. That's going to take about 8 weeks to learn all that. But I'm trying to diversify my income so that when time comes, or even before I graduate, I'm able to put down, or even I want to pay off the whole student loan debt because I don't have that much because I kind of played it very smart. So I'll be able to pay it off at least right before I graduate, and then I won't really have any problems with that, with paying it off month by month. That's my week.
So it's always good to get rid of that student debt. I'm already feeling the pain of it right now.
Oh no.
Anyway. So my week.
He said, "I don't want to think about it. Don't remind me."
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. My week's been pretty good. Been working on tying up some loose ends right before medical school starts. I actually start on Monday with orientation. So
congratulations.
Just taking in the last few days of just freedom, if you want to call it. I say quote unquote freedom because it was actually funny. A med student that I know, he's a black student, and apparently some white professor said to him, "Enjoy your last few days of freedom," and then she apologized afterward because of the terminology. I guess she's more socially conscious now of the State of the Union. So he's like, I wasn't even thinking about it, but I guess it's the fact that she's conscious is a step in the right direction, I guess. But yeah, so just enjoying my last few days and just having the free time before I dive into medical school. Not really sure what to expect with virtual orientation, but just probably a lot of Zoom meetings next week, and then we start classes on the 27th. So just enjoying that, doing a lot of YouTube. Did a lot of YouTube today, doing a lot of YouTube this week. trying to kind of stockpile content so that for the first at least month in medical school, I can chill. You don't have to really worry about having to put out a video, because I try to put out a video at least once a week. So been trying to do that and trying to stay productive as possible while also enjoying my last few days before this hectic medical school starts.
Got you. Yeah, no.
Sure.
Enjoy your last few days of freedom.
Exactly.
I'm a free man. Free at last. Free at last.
Dang, that's a tough situation for her. But yeah, no, that's lit. Congratulations. Proud to see where you've came from. Because, I mean, hey, you came from basketball. I remember you started with the basketball. Well, no, you did baseball too from before too, right?
Yeah, I was always an academic first. My mom always prided us on that, but I was known more for my athletics in high school for sure, and in middle school. So came a long way. Had to kind of resurface and revamp my optics from the outside looking in, but ultimately stayed true to myself. I harkened back on like 8th grade when I won the Flen Bliss Science Award, for my 8th grade class. So you just think about all these things that you don't even think about back in the day that just manifest into your future. So it's kind of crazy. We'll
destined to be.
Just working it. Just destined to be, exactly. So we're working.
Yeah, no.
What we got to talk about today?
Yeah, no. I mean, hey, I brought that up because it's like you had one thing that you were doing, but now you're switching over to something else. So,
what a beautiful transition.
What we're talking about right now is a big topic because it is revolving around that we are going to be bringing Podcast Sunday to a new channel. We're moving. Terrence just moved to Philly. We're moving to a new channel. And we'll go on to explain the different reasons why. But just want to get that out there. We are going to be moving to a separate channel other than, of course, my channel, Kingzeph channel.
Yeah, so I guess one of the reasons why we wanted to switch to a new channel is mainly because I guess the podcast can't necessarily be well received as much on the Kingzeph channel because the audience is different. Not everybody that we're trying to appeal to, or everybody that is there to consume Zeph's content as far as gaming, reactions, people that came over from Josiah's channel, of course. Not everybody that's there is there to receive the podcast. So we saw that there was, low retention on the podcast, low excitement for it. There was a group of people that were interested in it, but other than that, there were just people kind of there to show their surface level support. And for us, we kind of wanted to have a more focused approach and allow the podcast to grow as a separate entity versus incorporating it within Zeph's channel, because Zeph's channel is specific to Zeph, specific to the content that he wants to produce. However, in the situation with the podcast, it's different conversations. Sometimes we're playing it light, but most of the time we're talking about serious stuff, more mature conversations, more personal conversations, business conversations, life conversations. And it just doesn't necessarily fit perfectly with the theme of the Kingzeph channel. So we wanted to kind of diversify our portfolio in a way, kind of going back to I guess hearkening to what Quan was saying, diversifying his income. We're kind of diversifying here by putting it on a separate channel and allowing it to kind of grow it in its own way.
So it is definitely a big switch, but I think it would definitely be good when we have like a focus, because if we have a whole separate channel for the podcast, we'll definitely have a focus of exactly what we want to do, exactly how we want to go about it. And also have an audience that's there just for the podcast, where it's not so, like Terrence has said, it's not so split up where it's just certain people here and then we have low retention. And then it might even mess up the algorithms with us getting more eyes onto the podcast because of the low retention, because of the low, not necessarily low views, but just the low audience retention, which then would, like I said, mess up the algorithm. And we have a whole bunch of different ideas of where we're going to take it. And so we'd love to hear any ideas that you guys may have with the podcast. And like I said, we're going to go over a few more throughout this podcast. And so I mean, it's definitely going to be a community growing thing. We definitely would love to have you guys support. We're not only going to be the only ones building it, it's going to be the community that we have already. And then we're just going to build a community from what we have now to something even greater. You have any thoughts on that, Faquan? Or any thoughts on anything to do with the
podcast? Well, I kind of told Kingzeph over here a long time ago at the beginning of when he started the podcast to, let's separate it from the channel, because you don't want to have 2 or maybe even 3 different type of videos consistently on your channel, because you want to direct a certain type of audience. And once they see consistency, then it's going to help to funnel more views for your channel versus you having Podcast Sunday, a gaming video, a reaction. It's like it's a lot of stuff in one, and then you're going to start to lose your audience, and then you're going to see different numbers in your videos. So this is one of the reasons as to why we also brought it up again. Let's just try to separate it so that we're having a specific audience for the podcast, and then you keep your audience over here, keep them, going with the videos that you're doing, keep that consistent, keep going, and let your channel build off of that one thing and one thing alone. If you want to do something else, make a different channel. You want to vlog, make a vlogging channel. Yeah. Make it specific so you're directing a certain audience, and they'll stick with you. If they see consistency and you're uploading frequently and you're consistent, they're going to stay with that. They're going to subscribe. They're going to become your biggest fans, and you're going to see great success in your YouTube channel. So,
most definitely.
Mm-hmm. So one thing we were kind of talking about behind the scenes, and we could bring it to light here, what kind of focus do we necessarily want on the niche audience? Well, we're talking about a few different things. So niche audience, the theme, and kind of like a topic, or just a general theme of the podcast. And then also, the idea of the new platform. So we already talked about the platform, and another thing we could talk about, I guess, is who are we trying to reach, and what are some of the themes of the podcast going to be going forward? How are things going to be structured in order to be able to give and offer the best to the listeners possible? For me, there's so many different reasons why I go to specific podcasts. I listen to multiple different podcasts for different reasons. They may all veer off and eventually sometimes talk about the same things, but they talk about it from a different lens, a different scope. So I think it's important for us to identify what our lens and what our scope is, who are we trying to reach, and what is our specific purpose in our conversations.
Got you.
So I guess we could start with what do you think our niche audience would necessarily be?
Well, I'd just say I feel as our niche audience would probably be just people that's trying to, I guess, just learn about. Dang, that's a hard question. Wait, because we have so diversified our audience.
Yeah, we kind of. Yeah, you got it. Let me stop.
We can just run down a few things that I could run down a list of a few things that I'm going to announce right now. What does the audience want to see from us? Do they want to see comedy? Do they want to see news and politics, personal journeys? Do they want to see more professional, like career-wise? Do they want to see us talking about like TV and film, self-help? There's many different genres that we can jump into, and we can always learn more about, but we just have to know what type of audience is watching in the first place. And looking at the numbers of viewers that we had in the previous videos compared to like the comments, we definitely need you guys to comment. Even if you're watching for 2 minutes or you're down this far, you can cut out leave a comment. Please,
Mm-hmm.
just leave a comment, please. What do you want to see? Are we entertaining you? Can we be more lively? Can we be more energetic? Do you want us to throw some things in there to keep you in rather than you leaving after a few minutes? But just leave your comment. What is your critiques of this podcast? What do you want to see? What's going to keep you coming week after week? What's going to keep you entertained? That's what we really, really want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think just to, I guess, play off that point there. I think because we're all young men, young adult men, 25 and less, we're pretty much in the point where we're talking to a younger audience. If we're trying to spit game, trying to say, here are the things that we learned growing up, or things that we've gone through. Here's some things that are going on in our life right now we're discussing, and here's how you could potentially learn from it. I think it's valuable to any, younger person that is learning from somebody else's mistakes, whether they are very, very much older or a little bit older in the next generation. So I think that should be kind of like the target. We're kind of looking at people that are our age and younger.
Got you.
25 and under. And at the same time, I think if I were to self-critique our podcast, it would be to focus more on explaining through experience, or explaining through our actual journey, documenting, versus trying to necessarily be a life coach when we've barely gone through certain things in life ourselves. Obviously, we could talk about what we would have done different in high school, what we would have done different in college, because we're graduated now. But certain things in life, certain elements of business, certain elements of different things, we're talking about it as we're going through it, and that's another valuable perspective I think that we can offer. So instead of talking to the audience, maybe just focus on talking to each other, and having that conversation, and what they want to pull out of our conversations, they could pull out of it and use it for their personal lives.
Yeah.
Some other things that I want to throw in there as well with the genres or things that we can do moving on forward. It can even be a mix. It could be a mix of comedy, and it could be a mix of news. Like, we're giving our point of view on things. We can throw little jokes here and there. Like for instance, I don't know if any of our listeners were located really. Radio shows like The Breakfast Club, for instance. They give point of views on certain things. They do interviews with celebrities. They do little news sections in there with a little comedy. They have Donkey of the Day, who messed up the most that week, who deserves to have certain things pointed out about them during that week or that day.
Right.
We can mix it up. But please, again, please comment down below, please.
Definitely.
And while you're down there, please thumbs up this video, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
That is necessary.
Yeah, that brings me to a quote that I always think about, where I forget, I just heard it in a motivational video one time, but it was basically saying how a lot of people think that structure is a limitation on your freedom, but in a lot of cases, bringing that structure into your life allows you to really be free and really grow. So I think by bringing in structure like that, bringing in segments, even the fact that we have a segment in the beginnings, weekly recaps, different things like that will help structure the podcast, and I think will help it make it a better show and presentation for everybody watching. We also ultimately want it to be like a show, like an experience. So having things like that, hey, what do you think was the biggest screw up this week, or who do you think was should be highlighted this week? Who's your unsung hero of the week, or something like that? Somebody you want to put spotlight on. Different things like that will help. And we could, even rotate every single week. So it's this week is Zeph. Zeph, who's your unsung hero that you want to highlight? What's one thing that you want to highlight for Quan next week? And we could each grab from our own different realms too, because Zeph in gaming, YouTube, me in the medical field, and we could all have a conversation about from different perspectives in that way. And that could just be like a segment on the podcast, and then we could also talk about any other topics. If any of us come across like an article or anything that we want to, just discuss openly, it's really free realm. I think the fact that we could be diverse and people should be attracted to the podcast because of what we offer as far as our diversity and what we offer as far as our relationship between one another. Our connectiveness, that's going to get better over time. It's so hard over Zoom also because it feels a lot more rigid, but it's going to get better over time where it's going to be more free flowing. Jeff's not going to forget what he's thinking more often than not, and we can have free flowing conversations. So no shots.
So that's definitely the goal. And I like what you said before, Terrence, where it's like it's going to be a conversation between us where you're just going to be like, well, it's going to – I want it to feel like you're in the conversation, even though we're having a conversation between us three, because you can take out and you can just learn from whatever you get out of the conversation. But I just wanted to have that feeling of, oh, I'm here, I'm a part of this, but I'm also here to learn. I'm also entertained by it. That's I guess would be my vision that I would foresee for the podcast, where we are like, we got a podcast family right now. We got a lot of people that watch it and are attentive and watch it all the way through. Appreciate each and every one of you that do. But I just feel as though even when we move to the next channel, it'll just be such a greater and more closer connection between us. It'll be like I said, it will just be like you're in the conversations with us. And I just feel like it'll just be even a great experience where you can just even like put in the comments different stuff that, I'd offered it before, but hey, we don't get too many, but put in comments different stuff that you want us to talk about, and then you will see it in the next podcast. Or even if you wanted to join a podcast, we have a Zoom call. We can get as many people that we want inside this podcast.
And we could even have a segment on that, like the hot seat or whatever. We call it whatever we want. Where we bring somebody in to give a unique perspective on a particular topic or a particular thing. I don't think we should just bring anybody in that wants to talk. But I think that we should bring in people that if they have a unique story, if they have a unique perspective they want to share specifically, we put them on the hot seat, we bring them in, and then we, talk to them about a specific thing and let them open up about their story or their, particular point of view.
Definitely. That's why, like I said, it's going to be an even better connection between us, as even if we're, I wouldn't say losing people, because I would hope that everybody would subscribe to the new channel, but we are moving to a new territory in creating this new channel, creating the new podcast. And so as in because you had asked a question before, what we see our audience, and you said people that's our age and younger. I feel as though that is pretty true to me as well. What I was saying before was like, even what Terrence was talking about with the just teaching the younger generation, just by even our experiences that we've currently had or we're currently going through, would just be definitely an insight to what they may experience or what they can avoid, or just our takes. I feel will be just a very great thing for the younger generation to hear. Because I wouldn't say I was actually really blessed to have or be in, like, even as I grow older and older, I just see all the blessings that I have, just be in the family that I'm in, to have people around me that I have, to learn all the stuff that I've learned. It's definitely a great blessing, and I know that I'm not like...
You're welcome.
the average person. I have a lot of great people around me. I really can't say anything bad about anybody around me.
Thank you so much. Gosh,
just act like I'm talking to him alone. But yeah, so if I could, that does not mean that I haven't gone through different things. So I do have experience in a few different areas in life, that I feel as though can help a lot of people. But all that to say is, I feel that this podcast can really help the younger generation to have different perspectives on life. And maybe with those different perspectives, they could change in a better way. If they're not doing pretty good, even if you're doing good, you could always learn something from somebody that might be a little bit older than you, or even people that are the same age as you, because everybody has a different perspective on life in itself.
Okay. Even if you just want to hang out with people, like you said, people, this is a conversation. You want bringing people into it like they're part of the conversation. So even if you want to like hang out, quote unquote, with ironically, we might be using Google Hangouts, but even if you want to hang out with people that are different than you or have a different background and from a different state, you have the opportunity to do that with the podcast. And it, like you said, it brings somebody else some value, which is always positive.
Yeah, definitely. So do you want to start off with the marketing thing?
Yeah. We could go into it really quickly. I just wanted to pretty much ask what your plans or what your thoughts were behind the marketing. Obviously we could all market from our own avenues. I could always shout out the podcast on whenever it's relevant on my channel. I think the biggest person that has the biggest following, biggest eyes of that genre of people, 25 and younger, would definitely be your channel. So I think a lot of the responsibility may fall on you as far as marketing it and properly marketing it. Not just simply saying, follow the podcast or whatever, but also kind of showing that there is a certain level of value, having serious, conversation or serious discussion in your stream, or say just being in your stream and be like, yo, we got a great podcast. We talk about great different things. If you're interested in any of that, that's where you have the most interaction, right? Your stream, people are commenting, different things like that. Getting a little bit more serious with the marketing, getting a little bit more serious with how you present the stuff that you're associating yourself with, especially something like as serious as a podcast. If you want it to grow, I think it takes it just takes a serious effort. So it's not always approaching it in a joking manner, like, oh, go follow the best podcast ever. We're not saying that we're the best at anything, but just saying, go follow our podcast. We have serious conversations. We have great talks. You can really learn something from it. Posting clips, even if we want to do something like, and this is going into more and more work on your end. So it depends on how serious we get. But even posting highlight clips of, highlights from this month's worth of podcasts, and just posting 30 minutes worth of clips, highlights of different conversations, different talks that we've had every single month, different stuff like that, just promoting the podcast and different things like that in your YouTube videos if you want as well. The next 5 or 6 YouTube videos you put out, maybe just shout out the podcast in the beginning, be like, yo, this video is sponsored by our podcast. Go follow it. This is the channel. We have good conversations over there if you want to feel like you're a part of the behind the scenes of Kingzeph, you want to get the behind the scenes of what it's like to, grow a YouTube channel or grow a business or be a student, be successful, go follow us. Just little things like that. I think it's going to be on you, and I think it's going to be your responsibility. We're always here to help you and provide that guidance, but I think it's going to be something that you have to take onus of, and I think it's going to make you better as far as just, it's going to give you help with promoting King Bands and promoting this podcast and other future business ventures that you have. So I think just getting serious about it, man, just getting more focused, getting more lasered in on it, and treating it as if, you can't miss an upload date. You can't miss this. You can't miss that. Treat it like an assignment that if you don't get it in, you're going to fail the class pretty much, So I think it's having that mindset, having that approach with it. Obviously you don't have to upload it. You don't have to it's all intrinsic motivation. So just getting more strict with it, I think it's going to help and brush off into other things, especially into business and the rest of your YouTube too.
Got you. Any words for Quan?
So many words. Okay. So really quick, right? with this podcast, so what I'm thinking about doing, and this is just my own thoughts, do we want to spread this out? Do we want to diversify this podcast? Do we want to put this on iTunes? Do we want to put this on Spotify? Do we want to create a sort of graphic design, which Kingzeph over here is sort of a freelance graphic designer.
New logo, new name or something.
New name, a name. Creating something so that when they see that red background with that white letter and that sort of figure in the back of it, I don't know what it could be, that they know, hey, I know that. I listen to them. Like, we need something eye-catching, because we're talking about marketing. Marketing also includes things like colors, fonts, sizing, the name. Just like how the color red usually makes a person hungry, i.e. that's why McDonald's has the red and yellow, Checkers has red and white. These companies have Wendy's, yes. I'm not saying eat here because I don't, but you get the point. We have to start marketing. We have to start coming up with this concept that's diversified. But first, let's come up with the basics: name, emblem, insignia, whatever you want to call it, so that we can put it on these places. We can help to put it on other things like Overcast, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Castro, TuneIn. There's a whole list of things that we can do to help to push this more, to help to grow this podcast, even though it's at a low view count now, which is fine. Thank you for all the people who are watching currently. We want to see it grow. We really want to see this thing take off to the point where we're at 100,000 views per video, even more. Let's shoot for the moon. 100, 600,000, 700,000, whatever the number is. But I want to see this grow. I really, really do. I want to see this grow. So let's plant this seed. Let's water it. Let's take care of it, nurture it, put a little sunlight on it, so that it can grow into a beautiful flower.
I agree. I think that's the most important thing overall, and kind of the vision I had for it too was, although we could get a lot of Zeph's followers and fan base to help, ignite the fire a little bit. There are so many different people and different genres and different spectrums that are looking for this content, and we just have to find them. There's plenty of 16 to 24-year-old Black youth out there in country and internationally that are looking for this content. You just got to make it available for them, so and be able to reach them. So marketing it, like you said, creating the name, the logo, putting the descriptions behind it, putting the foundation behind it, getting it out on all the streaming services, and just growing from there. There's so many different ways, like Faquan said, there's podcasters that make podcasts on how to grow your podcast. So the tools are out there. It just comes with consistency and work. And, that's another conversation we could have about the roles of who's going to take on what. That's something we could talk about more behind the scenes. And meet about behind the scenes. But we all have different strengths. We all have different focuses. So we could all bring something to the table, and as long as everybody does their job, there should be no issue with getting this thing off the ground and making it successful.
I definitely agree with that. I agree that there's a lot of different stuff that we can do with just how we want to take it, because it can literally go in any direction that we want it to go. We just have to we can build it up to anything we wanted to build it up to. That just depends on how much work and how much consistency we want to have with it. And also, it depends on you guys, our listeners, just, helping us along the way, giving us different criticisms to better it. Just continue to keep showing support to the podcast, liking and subscribing and stuff like that. So, like I said, we can definitely bring it to any point that we feel as though we want to. And I definitely want it to be successful as a podcast. As in all the marketing stuff, I think you guys probably went over everything. I don't know if there's anything else that I would add. to it. But
yeah,
because you guys said the logo, then Terrence said the highlight clips, Instagram.
I got one more thing. Something that we also talked about behind the scenes. I wanted to do some type of incentive for the listeners. So I don't know if I want to do it on this one. It might be whoever goes to the next channel. I will have an incentive, a giveaway of a certain amount. It's going to be above $20. I know that for sure, but I'm going to be giving away a prize for certain thing that it's going to be revealed later as to what you have to do in order to get this prize. But I will be giving an incentive to the listeners who are listening to the podcast, who are taking something away. I might do something like, what did you take away? What did you learn? What can you, like something that, I want to see if you're truly listening. And then we'll just do like a randomized thing with the people who commented during that podcast. And then we'll shoot away that prize or that money through Cash App or Venmo or whatever it is. But that's something that will definitely be happening in the future. We will be doing a giveaway in the future. That's for the people who will be joining us in the new channel. So,
got you.
Right.
Stay tuned for that, and we'll be discussing that further on in the future.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Real quick, I'm just let you guys know, I am going to say that we're not going to have a podcast next week because we will be moving everything over. So I want to at least have some sort of time in between. Like just catch our breath and then
we also gotta plan a lot of stuff, so that's understandable. No problem.
All right, 5 4 3 2 1. All right, so I mean that we can end it off there. Of course there's a lot of other things that we will be discussing, but that's going to be off camera. And if you have any comments, questions, make sure you put them in the description. Not in the description. Sorry. 5 4 3 2 1. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you put it in the comment section and let us know. Make sure you like the video as well also. But yeah, so one thing I want to say before we actually end it off is that we will not be having a podcast next week because we will be switching over everything to the new channel. So just stay tuned. I'll definitely be announcing. Just look out for everything on the new channel. I'll be announcing the new channel on this channel probably sometime throughout in between this time span of the next 2 weeks. So it will definitely be a great thing. I know that for a fact. And whoever wants to help and join us on the new journey with our new podcast channel, make sure you subscribe to that. Like I said, I will be updating everybody on this channel what the podcast channel will be. We don't have everything set up right now, but you will be updated. So I feel as though we can end it off there. Terrence, Faquan, you guys have anything else to say or?
Good to go.
That's it.
Got you. All right, so we're going to end it off there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast talk.
Don't forget to comment.
Yeah, don't forget to comment because we definitely want to hear what you guys want to say. So hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you learned something. Peace out.
Peace.